And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's your favorite homegirl, E. Reed, your favorite host who loves to smile the most. I'm back, y'all. And you know what? I want y'all to sit back, relax, turn it up, and check this out. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's your favorite homegirl, E. Reed, your favorite host who loves to smile the most. I'm back with another Reality Radio Presents Binge and Rewind episode. And today, baby, we talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 12, Episode 10. And this is the episode where they're already in Toronto and Nene shows up. And based on the previews from the week before for episode 9, they made us think that we were going to see the big fight. Okay, the big fight. But that's not what happened. So this is what did happen though. Okay, so check this out. Nene comes in, because that's where it left off, with the little cliffhanger with Nene walking in. So Nene walks in and she sits right next to Kenya. And Nene says in her confessional, in her one-on-one, that she does miss Cynthia because as she's walking in, she hears them talking about the proposal and, how beautiful it was and how lovely it was. And of course, that was because in the episode before, Cynthia had confronted Kenya and her intentions on why she mentioned that Mark was getting ready to propose. But in this episode, they mostly talked about just how beautiful it was by the time Nene walked in. And that's why she says she misses Cynthia. And she, I think because they were so good of friends, and their bond was so tough when Cynthia got on there. And they bonded really fast, really hard. You know what I mean? Like, you've ever met somebody and, like, you bond with them quick. It's like crazy glue. Like, you just stuck. Or gorilla glue. Like, you just stuck with them. And just as hard as you guys bond with each other, that's sometimes how hard it breaks. And I think that's what we're seeing with Nene and Cynthia. But Nene definitely does miss Cynthia, and you can tell because you can hear it in her voice. I know Nene is an actress now and everything, and she's also a reality star, but you can tell when people say certain things and how they say it in their voice. Sometimes you can't just act that out. I don't care how good you are. Anyway, so Tanya, being the host that she is, wanting to be the hostess with the mostest to show her town of Toronto, Canada, and she has a lineup of activities for the girls to do while they're out there for Carnival. And one of them is going to the King and Queen Showcase. And let me tell you something. Like, if you are into costumes and you love color and you just love a really good show, like from what they filmed and showed us, I can only imagine it had to been like 50 to almost 100 times better in person. Like, that is now on my bucket list. Like, I want to go to Toronto, Canada, and I want to participate in all the festivities. I want to see everything for Carnival, and I've never been to any of them, but I definitely want to see that one. But anyway, so as they're all, gathered together and sitting down, enjoying the festivities, everybody's having a good time. Didn't seem like there was any shade thrown or anything like that. Like, I really think they were in the moment enjoying the show. And when they go back to the hotel and they part ways, Candy, Nene, Marlo, Giovanna, and later Tanya are hanging out all in Nene's room, and they're, catching up, like girls do. You know what I mean? So they bring up Snakegate, and they talk about Snakegate. And it was so funny because at one point, Candy was called KMZ. I think, who called her that? I think it might have been Tanya. I think Tanya called her that. Called her KMZ, Candy plus TMZ, KMZ, which is kind of true, cause like, Sheree's not the bone collector no more, so Candy kind of picked up that baton, you know, in the relay race that is reality TV and bone collecting. Okay, so that's definitely what Candy is. She is definitely a TMZ version on the show. And Nene was asked about who the snake was, who was the recorder, and Candy was like, we got the person of the hour right here to tell us who it is. And Nene sitting up there munching on her chips, and she like, I'm not saying nothing. Like, she put it like this: she did better than Spotsworth, aka Spanky, did last night on Power. Okay, so she was not snitching. Like, Nene is like too big. Like, I ain't saying nothing. Like, I ain't snitching on nothing. And Candy also asked about the blog to Nene, and where, how did the blog get a hold of what she wrote on the card, like verbatim. And Nene, it was a straight vice versa. It was like a straight, opposites. It's like opposites day. Kenya said that Nene did it, and Nene in her confessional last night said that she believes that Kenya did it. So they both not putting it past each other that the other one did it, which I think says even more volumes other than just the fact that they're blaming each other. Now, the way my conspiracy theory brain works, now it got me thinking, like, did y'all plot this together? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know how they be doing them court shows where I think it's called like the Plan B play in court, where you blame somebody else, so they're like blaming each other, so therefore it causes reasonable doubt because both of them had opportunity and motive to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's really suspect to me. Which further could, now I know that there was information put out that said that Giovanna is a snake. And as much as that definitely makes sense, I still don't feel like it's Giovanna. And even if it is, even if it comes out that it is Giovanna, I feel like it really wasn't her, but she's willing to take the fall and be the scapegoat for her to be able to be spoken about and have scenes on the show as a friend because she's part of the controversy. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't put it past Nene and Kenya and Giovanna to be in cahoots. That's basically what I'm saying. But like I said, the way my conspiracy theory brain works, I just don't put it past. But quite honestly, I feel like Kenya is the one who put the information out on the blog, and I definitely feel like Kenya is the one that did the recording. So there you have it. Let's see, moving forward. So this was an interesting tidbit. At one point, I believe it was Nene said it, and then it was confirmed by, I believe, Marlo, that at one point during the night of the wine opening, what's her name, Cynthia, had lost the greeting card that Nene wrote, or it was misplaced, and then later she found it. Now, you trying to tell me you wouldn't believe that Kenya would take a picture of it, and then send it to the blog? Really? Blank face, blank stare. Yeah, that. So, moving forward, they go ahead and the ladies meet up because they're going to go try on costumes for the big day. And now that they've gotten their dance classes, and they know how to whine, and they know what whining is and everything, even though we all know Portia's going to twerk. Which I thought was super hilarious because Portia was like, I'm going to twerk and we just going to call it whining. That's what we doing. And so they're all trying on the costumes, and as soon as Nene pops up, Cynthia and Kenya decide to leave. And I felt like that also spoke volumes in the fact of how uncomfortable we are within one another. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't tell me that Cynthia and Nene never were, not inappropriate. I'm talking about like they never changed in front of each other. Not in an inappropriate manner kind of a thing, like, dipping in the lady pond. But you know how girls are. You know how when you with your girls or guys, you with your homies, you know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all be comfortable and it's like, okay, let me change clothes real quick. And y'all in the same room. No, like when you were changing in the locker room kind of a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? But for Cynthia and Kenya to be like, well, I'm going to get ready to leave. And then they walk out. I just thought that was like, okay, wow. So Eva is not trying on costumes because she has to get ready to go. She has a fundraiser that same night. So she unfortunately will not be attending the festivities. And Nene also announces that she's leaving early in the morning. So she's also not trying on anything. And it was just kind of like, interesting. It almost makes me feel like Eva probably already had an event. And now that Eva and Nene are cool. And Nene didn't really want to be there anyway. And they were the only two that was in the they made, amends or whatever. I feel like they're going to be the ones to leave together. Okay, let me try to make that make sense. Okay, I'm going to say this again because I just came up with that theory as I was talking to y'all. So it probably didn't sound right because sometimes when I'm thinking it in the moment and I say it out loud, it don't come out right. So let me try that again. So what I was thinking was, since they made cool again and Nene was probably wanting a way out, what if Eva offered her a way out and invited her to go to the fundraiser or meet up in the morning after the fundraiser because the fundraiser was that night. I don't know. I just be thinking they be plotting with each other. That's just the way I feel. I feel like on Real Housewives of Atlanta and also the New Jersey franchise, I feel like they work within the group depending on who the person is. And I believe the same thing happens on the Beverly Hills Housewives. But that's neither here nor there. I could talk about that in a My 2 Cents video. Right now we're talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta season 12 episode 10. So let me get back to what I was telling you about. And so Nene's not gonna be there. She's leaving. I mean, she's leaving in the morning. And Nene then apologizes to Eva. And, but what I thought was really like kind of disrespectful was that as Nene is apologizing to Eva, she's got her shades on the whole time. And they're not small shades either. You know what I mean? And they were inside a room. So I don't feel like there was a need for it. Marlo hiding in the closet, ear hustling, and Tanya and Giovanna standing right there watching the whole thing go down. It was almost like it was almost like a real made for TV type of situation moment, the way everybody was standing and the way the conversation went. And so, of course, Eva says her piece about and how she expresses how she feels about Mike Gate and how she was upset that Nene was mic'd up, which I agree with Candy on this one. I just got through watching Candy and Nene's videos in reaction to last night's episode, and I agree with Candy 100%. Like, Eva can't really be mad at Nene when you guys are in the middle of filming and you guys are supposed to be mic'd. So even still, you should always assume it. Don't they say that like in the news, like for broadcasters, don't they always tell them like always assume that you're mic'd? So don't say something you don't want somebody to hear because it might get picked up in the mic. You know what I mean? Like, come on now, Eva. You've been in the game for too long and you just gonna get mad at me. I felt like Eva was just in her feelings. And I understand why she was upset because she was saying something that she felt like she can confide in Nene. But you are at work. So you can't. I don't feel like she should have been mad at Nene, and I feel like Nene really didn't have to apologize. But I am definitely glad that she was the bigger person and she rose above it, and she did. And I'm very glad that Nene appreciates and accepts the apology. But of course, she will, like she said in her confessional, will tread lightly. And next thing you know, Tanya has it set up for them to go visit the famous CNN building in Toronto, and they are going to hang outside the building. And when I mean hang outside the building, I mean literally. They're going to be strapped up with cable cords attached to the building, and they're going to hang outside along the building at, I think she said, hold on, let me see what she said. How many feet are they up? Oh my goodness, I wrote it down. 116 building stories high. So that's where the ladies were hooked up to the building and hanging outside. Now, at first, nobody wanted to do it. Everybody was like, no, I'm not doing it. Except for Candy. Candy was all for it because, of course, we know Candy is a freak, okay? But now we learn, after all these years, that Candy is a thrill seeker, okay? She enjoys that kind of stuff. So she was all for it. And so then once they actually get there and they actually start signing up for stuff, and Candy is the first one to say yes, then it kind of domino affected, and all the other ladies said that they were going to go ahead and do it, except for, of course, Eva, because she's pregnant. And Eva is so fake and phony because she said in the Sprinter van on the way there about how she wasn't gonna do it or anything like that. And then when she get to the counter, she gonna really ask them if it's okay for pregnant women to do it. Come on now, you how many months pregnant, really? And you think they were gonna take an insurance risk of putting a pregnant woman hanging outside the building? And the reason why I say it like that is because Eva comes off as so much smarter than everybody else, but yeah, you ain't got enough common sense to think that. Or maybe you did think that and you really was being fake and phony when you were like, oh, I can't go. Like, get out of here with that. I ain't buying nothing Eva selling on certain situations, and this one of them. But she is definitely gorgeous. Oh my goodness, she is definitely gorgeous. Oh, and speaking of gorgeous, I want to say Candy looked, I love it when Candy wears like fuchsia or purple colors along that color scheme, because it enhances her skin tone, and it just pops better on her skin tone. I just appreciate it. She wore all purple in one of her confessionals on the show last night, and then in her video that she did for reaction of last night's episode, she is also wearing like a similar, she's wearing a color in that color scheme, and I think it's really pretty. Let's see. And then Portia is, oh, you know what? I think this is when, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. So as they're all going upstairs or, going, to get ready to hang on stuff, Nene is throwing shade, and she's talking about how like she gonna do this with her family, and she don't consider the girls her family, so she doesn't want to share this experience with them. And I just thought that was an unnecessary comment to say. You know what I mean? Like, you can, I'm not saying don't feel how you feel, but I am saying you could have a little bit more class about it and not have to be crass about it. Okay, you could have kept that whole comment to yourself. You could have had that whole conversation by yourself, to yourself, within yourself, and with them glasses on, not have and look unbothered. I'm just saying it was unnecessary for that. So I didn't appreciate Nene doing that. And look, what's right is right, what's wrong, and that is wrong. Let's see there. Portia, I think this is when I had went to go get something to eat, and then I had like missed something, and then I came back, because the next note that I have on here is Portia doesn't want to argue with Nene. Or maybe, no, I think there was a conversation, and then Portia was asked about Nene or something like that, and she doesn't want to argue with Nene about anything. Like, she don't want to talk to her, deal with nothing. So y'all let me know in the comments, because can you remind me of what scene that was? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. Love you. Thank you. And all the girls go except for Nene and Eva. And as Nene and Eva are going further up the building, so mind you, the girls are hanging outside the building at 116 building stories high. Nene and Eva actually go higher than that. in the elevator, because apparently you can go higher up in, I guess, like a restaurant section, which is rotating at the top, and you can look down upon the people. You can look at the view of everything, and then also you can see the people who are hanging outside the building. So that's what they went up there to go do. And baby, let me tell you something. Nene was screaming the whole time. That would have been so annoying to me. Eva is a trooper, because there is no way that I would have been able to deal with that. But Nene was screaming the whole time. And as tall as she is, she gonna say she's scared of heights. Ain't that the irony? Look at that. So I must say, when I did get up there to the top, the view was absolutely amazing. I appreciated the view. It was gorgeous. And I love things like that. So I appreciate architecture and art. Like, I'm a tourist. So art and like the beauty of art is just something that I just naturally gravitate to. And I could find art in anything, and beauty in almost anything. I say almost anything. So yeah. And so, it's funny because whenever all the girls are, so as Nene and them are up there, the girls are down, down a few stories below, and they are so scared. Like, the instructor is telling them, do you want to look down? I'm talking about, they were so backed up against the building and didn't move. It was kind of like being at your junior high school dance where all the boys was on one side and all the girls was on another side and nobody wanted to move. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it looked like. So it was really funny to me. And so nobody's moving on the platform. And then the instructor, I guess, sees something in Candy, or seen that she was the more daredevilish. So maybe Candy made a move or something, and that was a signal to the instructor or whatever. Because then the instructor got Candy and had Candy doing some of the exercises that you're supposed to experience while being up there so high. I mean, you up there, you might as well participate. You know what I mean? So Candy went ahead and did it, and she was hanging over the edge with her back, out first. And so she's like, it's called Toes Over Toronto. It's a really, I don't think I could do it. I like heights, but I don't know. Let me not say I don't think I would do it, because it might give me in an impulsive state, and I probably would. With no hesitation. So you just have to catch me on a good day with that. Then Nene and Eva are talking, and so Eva is going through all the list of people that, who she can make amends with, and of course that would be Cynthia, Portia, and Kenya. And so they're going through the list, and of course we know Nene and Cynthia. Nene wants to make amends. She misses Cynthia. Excuse me, we've already established that. But when it comes to Portia, Nene would like to talk to Portia. Of course, we know Portia just don't want to argue and be bothered, but it'd be interesting to see how that goes. And then, of course, when it comes to Kenya, she just don't want to be bothered with Kenya, like, at all. Like, you could just scratch that. Hold on. I was getting thirsty. And so, that coffee is so good. And so, Nene says she does, can write Kenya off, and it's not even an issue. What is so crazy to me is that I know that sometimes you can predict human behavior if you pay attention to a person's actions and their personality. Now, I feel like Kenya is a good reader of that when it comes to certain things. I think she's blinded when it comes to her own personal relationships with men, but when it comes to just in general, I feel like she's a good, I feel like she can read people in a certain way. And I don't mean read like shade. I mean just like read like she can, sense something about a person. And next thing you know, she says in her confessional that she believes that Nene is basically going to go on an apology tour. So she done made friends with Eva. And so now she's finna sit up there and she's going to go through the next down the list. So the next one will be Portia and then Cynthia. And and then Kenya proudly says, like, she's not going to come for me, because she's not finna apologize to me and we ain't got to do nothing. So Kenya did predict that. Now, here's the thing. Either she predicted it and said it before Eva and Nene actually had the conversation, or that's the way they edited it in the show to make it look like that. One of the two. We'll never know. So let's see. Oh, here's something. I didn't like this, what Nene said. As Nene was talking about, wanting to talk to Portia to kind of make amends, she still called Portia fat. And I think, if I remember correctly, the way she said it was, she was fat before Dennis. So it was kind of like, ugh, like that was ugly. See, it's almost like it's almost like Nene is doing an Evelyn Lozada thing. Like Evelyn Lozada went on Ayanla Fix My Life, and then she had her own show on OWN to make it seem like she was just like on this journey. Now she's being baptized and feel like she on her spiritual walk, being closer to God or whatever. But yeah, she still does shady stuff. You know what I mean? And I feel like Nene is doing the exact same thing. It's interesting to me. And who else does that? Oh, Giselle off of Real Housewives of Potomac. Giselle does the same thing. Make it seem like I'm doing this good thing. I'm back on this spiritual journey. I'm trying to do good. And I'm still being shady. And who else does that on Bravo? See, I told you I'll be watching this stuff. Who else do that on Bravo? On Married to Medicine. Heavenly do that. Remember Heavenly, I think like last season or a season or over like maybe 2 seasons ago, she was on a whole spiritual journey and they went to go visit, where she used to live and all that kind of stuff. And she's still shady. She still be talking about that girl mama and everything. So I'm not buying what they always be selling. I be wanting to, but I just don't. And I want to thank y'all for continuing to hang out with me. Like this episode, like I dissected a lot. So I think I'm almost done with my notes. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate it. And y'all know I am E. Reed, your favorite home girl. Okay. Your favorite host who loves to smile the most. All right. I love you. But moving forward with what they were doing after, they finished showing the scene where Nene and Eva were talking. They went back to the girls that were hanging outside the building, and the instructor wanted them to do the Superman pose. So we all know what that would look like. Just, putting your feet on the edge of the platform, and then you just pushing forward out with your chest, with your arms out. Kind of like if you watched, y'all know what Superman is. I ain't got to explain all of that. Anyway, on to the next. So Nene, like I said, Nene don't want to deal with Kenya, but Eva did make a valid point. She said that they do need closure. So it's almost like if they can get the closure they need, that they agree to disagree and they agree to just be cordial within being amongst the group of ladies. And I feel like that's more than fair. I think that's mature. I think it's admirable on both ends if they both do it. But I really hope that they just stick to the agreement of being cordial. But of course, it escalates next week. So, yeah, that. All right, so Tanya's man pulls up. He pulls up on her, and his name is Paul. And Paul pulls up with Dennis, okay? So, of course, we know Dennis is here to give, Portia the ring over that. And because we all know what ends up happening, because we all watching it on the blogs and on social media. But Dennis shows up. Portia's talking to her sister about Dennis as they're showing simultaneously Dennis and Paul showing up in Tanya's room. And Tanya is all excited because she like, oh my God, I just love. And she just loves that Dennis and Portia, are going to be together because they hang out real tough as two couples hanging out with each other. Because, I strongly believe that couples should hang out with couples versus couples always hanging out with single people. You know what I mean? I just don't, yeah. So, Portia sitting up there talking to her sister, talking about what she done said to Dennis, but what really ain't happening. So basically, she lying to Dennis. So you lying to Dennis about where you at and what you doing, and Dennis was lying to you about where he was at and what he was doing. So I feel like that's even Steven. It may be on a much, hurtful scale of his lie and deceit, but lie and deceit is lie and deceit. What you want me to do with that? I don't know. Let's see. Brings the ring. Oh, then they get on the bus, right? To go ahead and where were they going? Oh, I think they were leaving the whatchamacallit, the CNN building, and they were all excited because they had this bonding moment, right? So everybody's in good spirits. And so then they have, of course, the imitation game. So Kenya imitates Tanya, Portia imitates Cynthia, Candy acts as Nene, which was definitely a good save because Nene was only really cool with Kenya. Like, she made peace with Eva, but Candy is the only one she was really cool with. So I'm glad Candy was the one to do Nene, because if anybody else would have did Nene, I think it would have went left. Well, maybe except for Marlo, but even Marlo might, because she treats Marlo a little different. I be feeling sad for Marlo sometimes. But Cynthia acted as Marlo, Eva acted as Giovanna, and Giovanna acted as Portia, which was kind of awkward because she made it seem like Portia just be like begging for food and stuff, like on some hobo hype. I think that was like, that's the vibe it gave off, but I don't think that was, Giovanna's intention, but I don't know. So then they decide, they go to, I think it was a club or something. I think it was the club or something like that. Maybe that's where they were doing the whole imitation thing. It was on the way to the club because Tanya has this thing that she claims, okay, self-proclaimed. It's called Tanya Time in Canada. So Tanya plus Canada. And I thought that was really cute. Like, she needs to have like merchandise that says that. That would be really dope. And then the ladies split up or whatever, and they break apart, and Kenya, Candy, and Portia, they go and are standing around a table, and they're talking about Snakegate. All right. And they decide that they're going to come up with a plan. All right. And let me tell you, watching this plan was like watching a really bad acting episode of an amateur version of Columbo. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh, really? But yeah. And I love Columbo, but it was like amateurs trying to do something Columbo-like. Okay. Or a really bad episode of Law and Order when they're doing the investigation part. I don't know, but it was horrible. And they were also lit. So that was that. Cause Portia went to the bar. She was like, I want some. She went to the bartender. She said, I want a cocktail with Hennessy in it. And the bartender was like, well, how would you like it? She says, make it in Kenya. Portia was like, whatever you do, I don't care. She was just like, give me a cocktail with Hennessy in it. She don't even care. And so they decided to do this whole good cop, bad cop thing, except for since Candy is there, she's supposed to be the quiet cop. All right. She the bone collector. She can't really say nothing. She the one collecting the evidence. All right. The evidence. So Candy is the quiet cop. Kenya, of course, is the bad cop. And then Portia want to be the good cop and the bad cop. Okay. I feel like each of their titles in this good cop, bad cop, quiet cop trio, all right, is perfect titles for who they are as their personalities. Nene is going tit for tat when she's talking to Cynthia, all right? And Cynthia and her, have a little breaking ice moment thanks to Marlo. And because, Cynthia wanted to thank Nene for the card. Nene still had her blocked or whatever, and Cynthia asked Marlo to ask Nene to unblock her so she could do X, Y, and Z. And so in this moment they discussed that. It's still Nene goes for the jugular. Oh my gosh, I just can't. It's just too much. So then the cops, okay, the pretend cops, the housewife cops, they decide that they're gonna confront Giovanna again, and Giovanna starts throwing out there like she didn't do it, but she know who did do it. Somebody in the camp ain't cool. Somebody in the camp is a snake, but she will not say who it is. And they directly ask her too, like, who is it or anything. She's just like, I'm not gonna say nothing. Same way Nene was earlier in the episode with the whole Snakegate thing and how she wasn't gonna say nothing. And to Candy when Candy asked her. And the scene closes out, okay, with Tanya getting ready to make a speech. She's standing there next to Paul. she's, you know, it's a family party because Tanya's got her friends and family and associates that she's known for years at this big party, and she wanted to bring her Atlanta family to her Toronto family and have this big old celebration. And as she's doing this love is love kind of a, you know, toast, here it come creeping through the crowd like really like a human snake. And I wish y'all could see me right now because I'm like really like moving around like a snake, okay, because that's what he was doing, you know what I mean? Here come Dennis. And then it goes into like continuing flashing slow motion by showing, you know, Dennis grabbing Portia, surprising her, and then pulling her in front of everybody and then getting down on one knee. And we all know the rest of the story. All right. So that's all I got for y'all. I'm going to do my 2 cents on this. But that's what it was, you know. It was just kind of like I feel like it was a builder up piece. You know what I mean? It was a builder up piece. I feel like that's what editing did, which is why Candy and a lot of us thought, based on the previews of how they did it. See, this is why I say you got to watch out for editing. You know what I mean? You got to keep your mind open for editing. Because sometimes it probably didn't go in the chronological way in which we saw it. Do you know what I mean? It's edited. I'm just saying. So, saying all that to say, I hope y'all enjoyed this review. I know it's a little bit long, but I had a lot of notes on here, and I did digress on a couple of things. So, thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Leave a comment in the comment section. You talk, I talk back, and let's discuss this episode. Like, what do you think about Nene and her relationship with the girls? How much of it is Nene's fault? Who was in the wrong? Is she going on an apology tour according to who is the weakest links of the show? Do you know what I mean? And I don't say that in no disrespect, but I'm just looking at it for what it is, based on who would be easier at talking to get them to forgive me and move on, or at least accept my apology and move forward. And I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate that that's what they giving us right now. But I want to know your opinion. You know, I also want to know your opinion about Snakegate. Who do you think it was? Do you believe was being put out there in social media that it was Giovanna? Or was it somebody else? Who do you think is the snake that recorded Cynthia talking about Nene? And on top of that, do you even care? Does it matter? Will it change the price of rice? I don't know. But I'm about to get up off here. This review is almost as long as the episode. So let me stop and get up off here because I'm just rambling. I love y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Thank you for joining me. Bye. Oops. Oh my goodness. I almost forgot. I love you. Okay. Bye.